We finally have a movie that came out in 2024 that separates itself from the pack, in my opinion, from the rest of the movies of the year. It's May. It's almost at the end of May. We finally got there. Let's talk about some Furiosa. What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Goodwill Hunting. It's your boy Brad. Today I'll be giving you a spoiler-free review for Furiosa, the newest movie in the Mad Max Saga. Just came out. This is the origin story of Furiosa herself, who was played by Charlize Theron in Fury Road. This is set about 15 years before that. Now the character is portrayed by Anya Taylor-Joy, and this is her origin. This is basically where she came from. This is how she became such a badass that we see her in Fury Road. Now, Fury Road was a movie of just straight up action from start to finish, never really stopped. It was basically ongoing, epic action set piece after epic action set piece. We have a lot of great action in Furiosa as well. I think it's on par with Fury Road. I really do. I think in general, from like a overall standpoint, I think this movie's on par with that. I think this movie does kind of break up the pace from time to time. And I actually think that's a good thing, because I think this movie, Furiosa, does a better job of telling a story and giving us strong characters. And I think we'll start with the villain. Chris Hemsworth was totally unrecognizable. If you didn't know it was him in the movie, hell, I even knew it was him in the movie, and I still didn't believe it was Chris Hemsworth. That is Dr. Demetrius, I think is his name, something crazy like that. He was outstanding. I thought he was intimidating. He was fucking ruthless. He was like, he was fucking over his own people. In my opinion, I think he's a stronger villain than Joe was in Fury Road and the other movies for that matter. I think he's probably the best villain we've seen in this franchise, just because he's so charismatic. And, dude, the accent he was throwing out there, I actually thought he was. You could have told me it was Tom Hardy, and I would have believed that before Chris Hemsworth. It was fantastic. He was great. But besides him, there was a lot of good little side characters. Or one of the goons from Insidious was in there as a good side character. There's a couple other ones. Furiosa's mom's in here. She's badass. Like, there's all kinds of cool people in this story that have their own like unique attributes and stuff. So I like that quite a bit. Anya Taylor-Joy, I thought, some people are saying like, I don't know, I can't buy her as this badass Furiosa. She sold it to me, man. I thought she was great. Every time she was like in these action sequences, there was an action sequence on like Fury Road, like, kind of like very reminiscent of what you would have seen in the last movie. And she was fucking badass in it, dude. She was out there fucking like running shit. And although Furiosa doesn't really have a lot of dialogue in the movie, the way that she acts with her body language, her eyes, and everything like that, I mean, it works so well. It adds so much to this character, I think. It makes her so intriguing. And that was something you could have said about Tom Hardy as well. He didn't have a lot of dialogue either. But, man, I think the comparison, it's an interesting comparison putting her against him, because, again, she has a pretty epic story here that he didn't really have, at least in Fury Road. I know in the original trilogy it was different. It does take a minute for Anya Taylor-Joy to, like, come into the movie, because when the story first starts, it's way back when she's like a child, and it's probably a good 30 minutes before Anya Taylor-Joy actually shows up. That first act really sets up the Chris Hemsworth villain role, and does a fantastic job for that, because the second act is all about Furiosa and her adventure, and then it all kind of comes together at the end. The action sequences were outstanding as well. They were basically what you would expect from George Miller, but again, we had several scenes that kind of just pushed it to new heights, I think. I mean, there were so many epic, intense things. You got all these like long take shots, wide shots. You got these freaking tracking shots of like, you'll have a character on a fucking the fucking warhog on the road, pulling the fucking gas tank or whatever, going down there, duking it out with people. There's people on the fucking what's the little boomerang or the pole vault thing, doing that shit, flying around all over the place. But you'd have like a nice long tracking shot of somebody like moving across the truck. That was just outstanding. And you have all the people jumping in and flying in from all different angles. Fucking cool shit. Love the hell out of that. I think that's like probably my favorite action sequence in the movie, but there were other ones as well that were, top-notch shit. And the cinematography along with those, always a fucking hit, man. Always a hit. As far as the story goes, I thought it was, a great story of revenge. I think that you can't go wrong with that. I think that's a good way to start a character from scratch. Is a good revenge story, and that's what we get here. I think the storytelling here, like I said earlier, is better than it was in Fury Road, because it takes the time. It does slow down throughout a few times, so you can kind of soak in that story and get to know this character. I really love the way we get to see her character grow from a child at the beginning of this movie to the badass she is in Fury Road. It basically cuts right into that. You get to see her challenges, the way she gets to make a name for herself, the way she becomes somewhat of a leader herself within this group of people she's working with. On a side note, I think the way that she loses her arm and gets the fucking mechanical one, like you see in what she's rocking later on in life, that was cool. That was like an epic, like badass kind of moment, I thought. So that was cool. I'm glad they threw that in here. I think I'm going to go ahead and give this movie probably a 4.5 for now. I really like, it's hard for me to throw the 5 out of 5s out. I don't give those out very often. This has potential for that. I'm going to sleep on it. It could end up being that way, but right now I'm going to say 4.5 out of 5. I recommend you guys see it. Really biggest screen you can. I think it's cinematographically speaking, it's one of my favorites of the year. Let me know what you think in the comments. I want to see what your rating is. Of course, if you want to help us find the good reels, you can do so by finding us at all of our socials down below. They're right down there for you. We got that new spread shop, so you get your Good Reel Hunting t-shirt. That's epic. That's going to be looking good on you. I think anytime Good Reel Hunting is on your body, you're going to appreciate it. So check it out, get that, and I will see you guys soon. No!